Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to meet Ukraine President Zelenskyy, is what we've been given to understand. Nupur, if you could come in on that big story that we are tracking at this hour of the Prime Minister, all set to meet Ukraine President Zelenskyy. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, so this is, as you know, Venus says that this is actually world is looking for peace. As our Prime Minister said that we are not looking for war, we're looking for the world is looking for peace. And this is not the era for war, this is the era for peace. So this is, and that is the reason that the Hiroshima is the perfect place for that, whether this city has suffered at 1945, and that is the reason our Prime Minister is going to meet here, and Kishida-san invited Modi-san, Modi-ji here, so they can all talk together and they can just come in that point where they agree that world doesn't need any more war, world doesn't need any more atomic bomb, world doesn't need death, world needs peace. So that is the reason this venue is taken here, and the things are happening here, and with full security everywhere, and PM Modi is going to meet. So everything is, everything is taking us to that point where what exactly PM Modi said, that world is looking for peace. So Kishida-san, as you know, a month ago, I think in April, PM Kishida had a visit, India visit, and from there he went to Ukraine as well. So they, I think they decided to do it, the talk and what is happening right now here. So I think all the world leaders, all the democracies, they decided that we have to be together, we have to bring peace, and what can be the best place than Hiroshima or Nagasaki? And Hiroshima was
to talk a little more about the news development of this hour right now is the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, viewers, is going to be meeting Ukraine President Zelenskyy for the first time. Nupur, this holds a great amount of significance given the position that India has taken all this while in terms of there's so much conversation about India being the country that will in fact broker peace between the nations in a sense, given our proximity to Russia. But the fact of the matter is that the attempt here is going to be on finding solutions, diplomatic solutions to de-escalate as far as the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia is concerned. And this meeting is extremely significant from that point of view.
Exactly, this meeting is extremely significant, and this place is extremely significant, and all the big democracies are coming together. And definitely, Japanese Prime Minister Kishida-san, he thought that who would be the better person than Modi-ji. They talked to the president of Ukraine. So I think this meeting is going to be extremely significant, and everything. This G7, whatever happening here. I think by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we will come to know what they are deciding, what kind of meetings they had. Definitely, now we know who they are meeting and everything, but still the result will be coming to know in a day or two. So I think this is actually going to change the world, the way people are seeing, the way we are looking at the peace and the war. So I think this is going to be a very, game changer. And this is going to bring a lot of big decisions, this meeting, because all the world leaders are getting together today. Today means from today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow, 3 days are going to be very important 3 days in history.
Well, absolutely important 3 days in history, and to tell our viewers that the other important development from the G7 meet, of course, is the fact that this is the first in-person meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Ukraine President Zelenskyy. It's interesting how Russia is also going to view this, given that last year Prime Minister Narendra Modi had met Russian President Vladimir Putin as well at the sidelines of the SCO summit in Samarkand. India has been talking about de-escalation and resolution of this ongoing conflict. The Prime Minister at that point in time had told the Russian President that this isn't an era of war, a line that has been reiterated by India time and again, by and large seen as fairly neutral to this conflict in terms of a direct intervention or direct criticism of Russia. Spokesperson of the former president of Ukraine, Yulia Mendel, is now joining us. Thank you so much for your time. Your response to this big development that India today is reporting on of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first in-person meeting with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy.
Hi, thank you for having me. Well, this meeting between President Zelenskyy and Prime Minister Modi is very important, and what I know is that the Ukrainian government was looking into improving the relations with India. It happened that, different geography did not allow us to develop really close relations, but in many ways we have a lot in common. And I know that President Zelenskyy was really interested in the conversation about the Russian invasion in Ukraine with Prime Minister Modi. We definitely know that Russia has very close relations with India, and they have developed some partnership. But at the same point, we understand that India is looking for justice and for developing as, internationally strong country. And that's why India respects international law. So within this meeting is very important in terms of making the warm relations between two leaders and between discussing this war in Ukraine, and actually to ask the question if Delhi wants to play a role in ending the war in Ukraine, because Delhi can play a really important role while having, the relation between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin. So let's see how it will go, but I guess this is one of the most important meetings during today's G7 summit in Japan.
I also want to ask you, because this is the first in-person meeting between President Zelenskyy and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, what is it that Ukraine really expects? In the past as well, President Zelenskyy has in fact dialed India's Prime Minister seeking help with the peace formula in that sense. So what really is your expectation in the backdrop of the ongoing conflict with Russia?
So let me say that this war actually in many ways was characterized as black and white war, for the reason that when it started it was not provoked, and there was no any Ukrainian soldier on Russian territory. But we definitely know that Russia plays a very huge role due to its large economy and large territory, and has a lot of influence on Asia. So President Zelenskyy tries to develop their relations with key major players in this part of the world, but also India is very influential in general in geopolitics. And definitely he would see how it is possible for India to influence the Moscow's intention to continue its brutal invasion in Ukraine. Ukraine has developed its peace plan, and Ukraine is sharing the message that indeed we want to have peace. President Zelenskyy said several times already that he wants to end this war this year. But what are the important questions is that if Russia is limited in getting and developing the weaponry, he wants to make sure that there is no any country that would help with developing or buying the weaponry. He also wants to understand that the trade that is being done by Russia will not help them to boost their defense system. But also he will see, Prime Minister Modi can have influence on President Putin. And he wants to see if Prime Minister Modi can actually use the opportunity of this contact with Putin to help us press the Putin and actually finish this war. Because Ukraine wants to have this war ended this year.
Thanking you for the moment yes, I'm going to thank you for the moment for joining us with your perspective and your views as far as that big development is concerned, the first in-person meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Ukrainian President Zelenskyy. In the backdrop of the ongoing war, this is the G7 summit where India is in Japan as the guest country.